Yippee-yay, there'll be no...
Hi guys, and welcome to the mod talk for my Fallout New Vegas Let's Play. This is just before part 8, and I have decided to do another separate video and not even bother trying to do mod talk as part of the Let's Play, because I know it is going to be long and a bit babbly, because I got several things to discuss, and from now on I have decided to do this if the mod talk cannot be completed within, you know, a minute. So if I suspect it's going to go over a minute, you'll get one of these. And partly that's because some people just don't care and don't want to see it. And it's also partly because the way I'm editing the videos now, I start off with what happened last time and the story kind of flows. And if I stop for 5-10 minutes to do mod talk, I kind of ruin that flow. So I don't want to ruin it, and this mod talk is going to be somewhat involved. Therefore, I'm making a separate video. If you don't care, don't watch it. Seriously, just go along to the Let's Play and watch it, carry on. I'm going to try and make it as seamless as possible. If you care what I have done, what I've changed, and what I'm thinking of changing, keep watching. Right, so, first thing, the darkness. A lot of people complain, well not a lot, a few complained, and I don't mean that in a negative way. If you can't see the video, you should tell me. If you really can't see anything on screen, you should tell me. I can see things. Obviously, it's dark and enemies could hide as long as they were still, and it would be very hard to find them. There could be someone up on that tree line, and I would have a lot of difficulty finding them unless they moved. But if they moved, I probably could see them. And probably shoot them. It's not that dark. Nice starless night. It's not that dark, actually. But, and here's the thing. Once I render it to YouTube, it becomes a lot harder to see. YouTube rendering has a lot of issues with dark areas. It blurs them. It just does. And there's not a lot I can do about that. I can increase the brightness, and I can even do some colour correction to try and combat it, and I can do a fairly good job, but it makes it look a little washed out, and that's especially true during the day. So what I have to do is go to all the dark scenes and do them separately from the light scenes. It takes a lot longer to do, and I'll do it for the next episode. I will do it for the next episode, but I don't want to do it for every episode. So what I'm thinking is we need a better solution. Oh, and the other thing is some people could see the video and said, oh no, I could see just fine, and other people said, no, I can't see a thing. And that is to be expected, because everyone's monitor is different. And some people don't have their monitors calibrated, but even if you do have it calibrated, you may not see as clearly as, say, I do, because every monitor is different. Some monitors do blacks and the dark colours far better than others, and so it is inevitable that some monitors will have a lot of trouble making out anything over there. And I totally understand it, especially when there's a firefight going on and I'm shooting at people and you've no idea what's going on. It must be very frustrating. And the torch is next to useless. The torch is really good for finding things, actually. It's better than the Pip-Boy light for finding things on the floor. It really is. But here's the thing, right? Watch the road. Watch me lift the torchlight. Have you noticed that it doesn't go? It's like it's stuck to the road almost. There's a range limit on the torch, and it's fairly close. And that's okay, because you know it's not that powerful a torch, and torches don't go that far. But it's not that powerful, right? Which means for firefights longer than about 10 meters away, this is useless. Even if I got a belt-mounted one, so I could shoot at the same time as having a light, it would be useless for actually illuminating enemies. So, realistically, unless I spend my entire time doing melee with my Pip-Boy light on, chances are you're going to miss quite a lot of the fights. And it's even worse because I'm a stealthy type of character, really. And walking around like this and stealthed and people don't see me coming is very immersion breaking. It's very immersion breaking indeed, actually. And unfortunately, the AI in this game just doesn't recognise light sources. It just doesn't seem to. Apparently your sneak chance goes down when using the Pip-Boy. But I don't think the same is true for the flashlight. Maybe I could actually edit it so when taking out the flashlight, your sneak skill goes down to... Well, you can't even do that because in actual fact, your sneak skill, if you've got your torch out and you're not in line of sight, let's say you're in a room, the person next door can't see the torch, so your sneak's fine. So you can't even just say, oh, I'll reduce my sneak by 100%, because that will mean you can't sneak with your torch out, even if the opponent is blind and in a different room. So as you can see, it's problematic. And there's all sorts of immersion-breaking things with using a torch like this, as well as the fact that it doesn't actually solve the problem of you being able to see very far. So we have two choices. One, change the mods that make everything dark. So for example, the lighting mod that's making the night dark, I can use a lighter version, and it does make it pretty much as bright as you saw it at the start when I was using Cat Eye. But to me, it really takes a lot of the atmosphere away from the night. It really does. And I would also have to remove the interior lighting overhaul. And I love that, but I'd have to remove that because, again, same reason. I don't want to be using a torch when I'm sneaking and the enemy just ignore the torch. It's just really annoying. It really is. The enemy in this game are already stupid. So, option number 2, night vision. I was going to avoid things like that. I didn't want the gadget feel. I wanted it to be a bit more rustic. But of course you can get night vision in the game. Night vision pills, as you've already seen me use. Night vision scopes on the varmint rifle. So it's not too annoying. I'm not going to be using detect traps. I'm certainly not going to be using the target acquisition computer, that type of thing. But I'm thinking night vision, just basic, bog basic night vision. And I actually want to use my own night vision, not the Project Nevada one, because I want the one eye effect. So we get the little circle in the middle, and all around that circle it's dark. Because what that does is it keeps the feeling that you're in a dark area. You get that feeling of still being in the dark, whilst actually being able to see what's at the centre. So I think I'm going to do that, basically just to be able to make the videos work. To make it entertaining at the same time as keeping that slightly creepy feeling. So, there you go. There's that. What else do I have to do? Right. You see this guy down here? I don't know if you can see him. I'm going to get closer. First thing, do you notice you can't see a red dot? I can confirm for you he is hostile. And I'm going to cut this out. I'm doing this now because, in actual fact, this is very immersion breaking. Because this used to happen in Fallout 3. When you reload a game, you come back and some things have spawned. And what's even weirder, I've been testing out the mod I've created, which I will talk about in a minute. And I found this person. And here's the cool thing. Those are the people I killed, so this is a new person, right? But you'll notice you can't see him. Remember that. That's going to be important in a minute. You can't see the red dot. You can't see the red dot, and there's ants out there and you can't see them, right? Whereas before, you could see things a billion miles away. Now watch this. You see the body fall over, but someone still stood up. There's 4 of them. They're either in a line or they're inside each other. I haven't decided which yet. And they all spawned right there. But most importantly, none of them reacted when I shot the other person. Now, that happened to those as well, which is truly annoying. Now, I've added the enhanced AI detection, the experimental one, from Project Nevada. And I don't know whether it didn't work with them because they are bugged, and they might be. What's it got on them? Ooh, squirrel on a stick. I'm going to have squirrel on a stick. Excuse me, it's just one. We're going to pretend this never happened. I am, however, going to loot them. I need to make up the loss of bullets somehow. No, wrong. So yeah. So obviously the AI is messed up. I shot a guy next to 3 people and not one of them noticed. And they didn't hear the shot over there. Now either that's because the experimental AI isn't working, or this entire area is somehow bugged because these guys didn't notice, even though the guy over there spotted Edie. Or really the AI is that bad, and that is going to be a problem, I think. I think that's going to be a problem. So I'm probably going to look for a mod that does something, you know, that changes the AI, especially with regards bodies. So if there's a body next to them, all of a sudden they react to it. That is what I'm going to do. I'm going to look for a mod that does that. Alright, so that's what I'm going to be thinking of doing for mods, and I've already covered 10 minutes. That's what I'm thinking of doing vis-a-vis mods. Now you know why I had a separate mod talk. I wonder if you guys can even see this. Put my Pip-Boy back on. I'm back where I started, right? So, I have actually got some mod changes. The first one is, as you've already noticed, no red dots. Because that was really bothering me. Seeing things a mile and a half away. Not only was it overpowered, it was really distracting. You spent your entire time just completely paranoid. And it took a little bit of the drama out of getting discovered. So, I went and looked, and there's a few people actually made some suggestions, thank you very much for that, but I went and looked at some options to make Eddie's perk more bearable. But they all involve changing it to something completely different, like plus 10 science or better aim, and unfortunately that doesn't work with the Jack story now, because Jack has started appreciating Eddie a little reluctantly, I might add, but he's beginning to appreciate him because he's helping him find enemies. That is now canon. For me to change this perk at this point, I think would... At this early stage, changing that type of thing which changes the dynamic between these two, I think is a silly idea. I think it's a bad idea. So what I've done is made my own mod that changes his perk, and instead of that ridiculous range thing, it adds 2 perception. Now, perception's a fairly weak stat. It gives you some bonuses to, I think it's energy weapons, explosives, and lockpick, which means I've gained 4% to those skills. You know, whoop-de-doo. It does, however, increase your perception range by, well, I don't know. I actually don't know how it works, but assuming it's linear, I've gone from, I was 6 perception with the hat makes me 7. I am now going to be 9 perception, which means I can see about 25-30% further, which is not to be sniffed at. That is useful. That means I could possibly detect the people before they detect me, assuming my perception's higher than theirs now. That is useful. Eddie's still useful for the same reason. So I think that works. However, there is one small downside. The perk doesn't apply until I get Eddie as a companion. And it doesn't count now. I have to dismiss Eddie, go back to Prim, and pick him up. I don't want to do that. That will also ruin the story. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue on as if nothing had changed. It doesn't really matter. The story won't get changed that much by the fact that I see enemies a little less right now. But, of course, I need to go back to Prim anyway to get a reward for finding a sheriff, and I'm all about the reward. So when I'm there, off camera, I will just, you know, dismiss and rehire. And then I'll gain the +2 perception, and I will start seeing a little further. And we will continue under that illusion and pretend nothing has happened. In fact, don't tell anyone who has not watched this video. Yes, if they ask, tell them to watch this. No, don't do that, because if they skip this video, it's because they hate this type of video. So there's that. This also means I'm losing the other function of Eddie's sensors, because I'm not sure if you know this, but Eddie's sensor perk lets you target people who have got stealth fields up in VATS, and it's quite powerful. And it would be one of the few times I'd have been tempted to use VATS to, you know, handle the Nightkin. I will not be able to do that, but in a way I quite like that. It removes the temptation to use VATS. I am going to use VATS in this Let's Play sometimes. Just sometimes I'm going to want to make a shot I know I couldn't make, or I just want to try it out. But occasionally we're going to meet things like Cazadors, the single most annoying creature ever invented for any game ever, 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 ever. And I hate those things. I can't stand them. Trying to kill them with the horrible physics and game mechanics of first-person shooter of this game, it's next to impossible. And it's annoying because you shoot these things in the wings, whatever. They're just flies. They're not even that big. You can shoot them with an anti-material rifle full in the face, and they take so little damage. It's insane. It's really. I always find those things. I don't find them challenging like death claws. I find them unbelievably irritating. Just like they actually ruin immersion for me because if I shoot something in the wing. When the wing is that thin and it just carries on flying at me, I'm just, a death claw, yeah, shoot it in the face and it just ignores it. Alright, fair enough. Cazador, no. So I might use VATS. However, I will not be using VATS on Nightkin now because I can't. Yeah, I rambled a bit off there, didn't I? So, second mod change. Eddie is now essential. Eddie is now essential. Why? Right. While I was testing out this mod, I tried a few different things, and Eddie got into some fights without me knowing. Now that I'm using this whole passive mode thing, Eddie got into a fight without me knowing. And died. It was the first I knew he was in combat, is he died. Which was annoying. And then I tested it again, and then I spotted he was in combat, but didn't have time to save him. And he died. And I realised that with the mods I've got that really make damage intense, keeping Eddie alive is going to be tough. I don't know how I've done it so far. I think it's essentially because they've all been shooting at me and he can survive a few shots and I then clear them up. But he really is... So my thinking behind this was, I already repaired Eddie once. If he goes down, I can repair him again. Why can't I repair him again? I mean, he's just a machine. I repair him. So, I mean, you could argue, or they could have damaged his primary memory circuits, and that is, of course, true. But it's a small chance, isn't it? It's more likely if they knock him down. If you shoot a robot, he's more likely to go down because his anti-grav unit fails, or his power systems fail, than anything else. And then people are not going to keep shooting him until they've finally got that one thing that's probably heavily armored anyway. So that's my reasoning behind it. I don't want to lose Eddie in the very next episode, which was probably likely. The only other thing is, the mod I used also made Rex essential as well. Not sure how I feel about that, because I can't repair Rex. All of the companions are not essential. They can die. Not sure how I feel about that yet. Again, the problem being, I've increased the difficulty of this game by installing that mod. It makes it so that my companions could get one-shotted in the head and die. Don't know. Because, with the hardcore game, they're not essential anymore. They can die. But is that a good idea when using a mod that lets people die one stray shot? It's okay with me because I'll take precautions. I will hide behind cover. But you know what the NPCs are like? They're stupid. And they're going to get themselves killed. So, appreciate some feedback on that issue. What do you think of companions being essential? There is a slight immersion break on it, and I kind of don't want them to be essential because I like the idea that they might die. In fact, sometimes that adds to the story. Just not Eddie, at least not now. I might change that. I might actually, instead of making Eddie essential, I might make it so that the mod that really damages a lot doesn't damage him, or what I would really like to do is I'd like to make it so that you down Eddie and then he becomes a bunch of scrap on the floor and then you have to repair him again. That would be kind of cool, actually. Anyway, I believe I have babbled enough. It's close to 20 minutes. True, I've probably taken 20 minutes purely because I knew I could. I would have been faster had it been in-game, so I apologise for that. But there you go. That's my thinking. Give me some feedback, and hopefully we can get this all figured out. Alright, I'm going to go off and play now.
Yippee-yay!